It's up for debate.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I want to wish my guy Dalton, his girlfriend, I'm not going to say a government name on live, you know what I'm saying? But happy Valentine's Day to y'all, man. I hope y'all had a great night already.
Thank you.
You have one. Yes, sir.
And happy Valentine's Day to you. For all the female bachelorettes out there, there is a man that's single, that's ready to mingle. He's handsome. He's got character. He's got personality. He's got looks. He's got charm. He's got smarts. He's got it all. J-Fly23, girls, or J100, a.k.a. J. Matthew, distant cousin of Tyrann Matthew from the Chiefs. But how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, man, I feel good. The streets of L.A. were going crazy last night. We were down by SoFi in Culver City. We were out there. We were watching it all happen. Then we went out to Rancho, watched the game, had a big Rams party. We had, like, blow-up Jalen Ramsey's and Aaron Donald, just, like, bigger than me. I kept running into him like, yo, who is this? And, you know what I'm saying? So we were having a great time. People were a little tipsy. I wasn't. But they were having themselves a great time, and we were celebrating. Sergeant was there. Our boy Sergeant was there. Yes, and he was having a good time. He ran around after with the flags. Anyway, yes, sir. It's a good time to be in L.A.
It was cool to see the Rams win. I'm a big Troy Reader guy. He went to my high school. So it was nice to see him get a win. But obviously, when one team wins, the sad part about the Super Bowl was there was two likable teams. And when one team wins, another team loses. And I want to just highlight, as phenomenal as Stafford, Kupp, McVay, Aaron Donald, really, as phenomenal as all of them were, the Bengals played a great game. And I don't know if you thought the same thing as me, but that last catch, did you feel like he could have dove for it? That Burrow moved out of it, and the running back could have dove for it?
Last drive by the Bengals?
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was actually a lot of things the Bengals could have done better. I mean, credit to the Rams defense. But, yeah, I think if I'm thinking what you're thinking, I'm thinking, yeah. But there was a few times where I thought, oh, man, like they could have made that pass. They could have caught that. Even blocking, like, I mean, Aaron Donald, he's the best to ever do it probably on defense, and he deserves that ring. But that last play double-teamed him, and he just got through like it was nothing. So, yeah, I mean, the Bengals made too many mistakes against a really good team.
Yeah, they did. And it just sucks because I think Burrow played a pretty good game, if not a great game. Same thing with Chase. Chase was all over Ramsey. It just sucks to see the Bengals lose, but like you said, nice to see Donald get a ring. Nice to see OBJ get a ring. Funny seeing him cry. I was cracking up. Love him.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, but he's like crying like a little girl. He's like, ah! Like walking
His
around.
face is like, I couldn't even do the face. I couldn't do it. But I couldn't. But OBJ, OBJ, you know, I watch all these sports shows and reality, whatever, like TV shows, movies, and they cry. They put those things in their eyes, and like they're just like crying. That was the most genuine, real cry I've ever seen in my life, in real life or on TV. That was like a legit cry. Like I'd never seen anyone cry before, probably until that day.
No, you put it best. That was legit, and it was nice to see because a lot of those Rams players have been there for a while, but didn't get a ring. It sucks because I really wanted to see Deshaun Jackson get one, but he left.
Yeah.
But back to the Bengals, I think that they're built to build up a dynasty, kind of. Not right now, but for years to come. I mean, they'll definitely be back in the Super Bowl. What do you think?
I don't know. I was thinking, this is my thoughts. If they would have won the Super Bowl, I was like, okay, somehow we're going to see a Bengals dynasty happen somehow. Now I'm kind of seeing it as maybe it was a fluke. Maybe he's not that guy. Joe Burrow's not the cigar-smoking guy we thought he was like 2 days ago, you know? Maybe it's time for Tom Brady's gone. Aaron Rodgers is still hanging around. We don't know what's going to happen with him. It might be time for some Herbie. Who else we got? Josh Allen? You know what I'm saying? Maybe Patrick Mahomes is really that guy that we thought he was last year. So we got to see because there's 4 guys I think can really become that guy. And it doesn't seem like it's Joe Burrow after last night. Pat's got one. Mahomes has got one. We got to see who gets the next one because, I don't know. Joe Burrow didn't look like that guy last night to me. He only put up 16 points. And his defense actually played good. Like, the Bengals defense played really, really good. They gave him they really gave him a great chance to win that game. They gave him multiple opportunities to put it away. They never did. So sorry, Joe fans.
I think a lot of people thought too.
LSU, man, I'm sorry. LSU, he did not represent last night. But Jamar Chase, I think, had a decent game. T. Higgins, they were getting open and stuff. It just, I guess, a combination of the pass rush too. It was difficult.
Dude, that one catch that I think it was Tyler Boyd or was it T. Higgins where they face masked Ramsey?
Yeah.
They should have called that. Like, there were some calls in the game where you were just like, this is awful. But overall, I mean, I thought it was a great Super Bowl. Shout out to both teams. I'll say this. Bengals will be back. Love Joe Burrow. Think that the kid deserves a lot of respect. And I saw a video, and remind me to send it to you. You'll love it. But the Bengals, get this. I want to see your live reaction. Honestly, the Bengals had a losing party. Imagine having to go to a party last night after losing. Yeah. So I'm like going through Instagram, and Kid Cudi's singing, and he's wearing a Joe Burrow jersey. And Joe Burrow's in the background after losing the Super Bowl, and he's just like singing along. Like, you could tell he's sad. Like, imagine a team like being like, all right, we just lost the Super Bowl. Now go party, have a couple drinks, have a good time. Like, how do you – I would be nauseous after losing the Super Bowl, I think.
No respect. God, no respect. This is the thing. This is how I see it. I see this two ways, and they're both bad looks on the Bengals. The first way I see it is, like, you have no – like, there's no competition. Like, you're not a competitor. You're not, like, great. Like, Michael Jordan never lost in the finals. But if Michael Jordan lost in the finals, I guarantee you he is not going to have a losing part. And this is what I was talking about. I was about to tell you this before. The reason why I'm not big on the Bengals right now. I'm not big on Joe Burrow because I don't celebrate losing. I don't celebrate losers. I don't like losers. I don't like losing. So I can't side with Joe Burrow. I can't side with the Bengals because they lost. If they would have won, I'd be out here talking about Joe Burrow's the next Tom Brady. I'd be saying all kinds of stuff. But he lost, and I just don't respect it. Now, the second thing I'll say is this is where people start saying, oh, it's scripted, it's rigged, it's fake. They knew they were going to lose. Like, Joe Burrow purposely didn't try to score when he had 5 straight possessions where he could have iced the game because his defense was playing lights out. The refs were giving flags. That's what people are thinking, because then they just go off just like if they're actors on a TV show. And then, like, they're like, oh, my character died, but I'm still going to party in Hollywood at the club tonight because I just got paid a big check. We just ended the season. That's how he's feeling. Like, he just got paid a lot of money this season to play football. He just finished the season. That's my offseason. Now I'm going to party. I don't like that. It's not a true – it's not – I mean, me and Mike play football, and by the way, the three offensive touchdowns, I was toasting people and 3 picks. Shout out to me. Anyway, just playing, and shout out to Mike. But anyway, when we play football, if we don't win, like, I don't even want – like, I'm just like, dang, I feel a little dejected for a bit. Like, even if I'm playing pickup basketball, if we get 1 loss out of, like, 5 games, me and my friends are kind of just like, you know, we're, like, dejected for a little bit. So anyway, I can go on and on about this. I just don't like losing. And I don't like losers. And right now, Joe Burrow, to me, is a loser. Sorry, Joe Burrow. You're still rich, so it doesn't matter what I think. Live your life. But that's all I got to say, though. You know I'll go forever on this. I can just rant on this, but sad.
It was a good game, though. I think you got to say. The kid, like, people forget this kid's 22 years old. He's so young. And, like, I really put a big picture of Zach Taylor there. Because even, like, watching those play calls, like, when the Bengals were marching down the field, if the Bengals would have had a right tackle, like a good right tackle,
yeah,
they would have won yesterday. I'm not lying. They're built to win. Like Jesse Bates, Eli Apple's trash. They're going to go out. They're going to get a cornerback, I think, and an offensive lineman in the draft. They'll be back. But like you said, I mean, we can talk about this forever. It was a good Super Bowl. I'm glad that it wasn't one like, remember the Rams and Patriots Super Bowl a couple years back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember that one. But this is what I'll say. Like, the Broncos, do you remember the Broncos got beat 43-8? They lost to Seahawks 43-8, got completely smacked. Yeah. But they came back, and then they won a Super Bowl like 2 years later. So what I'll say to that is, I don't care if you lose 43-8. I don't care if you lose 20-16 or 23-20, whatever the score was for this last Super Bowl last night. If you don't come back and win one, no one's going to care. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to be remembered in history. You're not going to remember some winner. You're a loser forever. So, Joe Burrow, go back and prove people wrong, because right now, I'm off the Joe Burrow train. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I don't blame you. Well, I'll tell you what. I think that the Bengals are on the Joe Burrow train, and at least they have a QB.
Yeah.
A lot of teams don't have a QB, and this is going to be fun. Look at it. I would have, imagine 10 years ago, Jay, telling somebody that 11 to 12 teams would be unsure, maybe would trade, maybe need to trade, want to trade, in 10 years from now. That's 1/3 of the league that isn't solidified or comfortable. I would even put the Eagles arguably up there. Eagles, I think maybe even the Giants, teams that can acquire the Dolphins. I think I should have definitely put up
maybe
here.
The Bears too, even though Justin Fields and the Niners now with the Jimmy G situation. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of teams out there with shaky.
Arguably the Vikings people are saving with Kirk. The Steelers, I should have definitely put up here.
Oh yeah, for sure the Steelers. There's so many teams. That's the thing this year. So many teams.
That's got to be 16 to 17 teams right there, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, which of these teams do you think needs a QB the most?
The most is a good question. I think you have to automatically go, and again, this is an irrelevant franchise, but it's been relevant for the past 2 years. So I'm gonna have to go first and foremost with the Tampa Bay Bucks because they were just in a Super. They just won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, the greatest to ever do it. Then they just almost made it to another Super Bowl that the Rams beat them out there at the last second. But if not for that last second field goal, they might be back-to-back Super Bowl champions right now. So they're going from that to possibly the worst team in the NFL. I think if they don't have a decent fill-in for Tom Brady, they may end up being last place this year because Trevor Lawrence might get together, Zach Wilson might get together, and all of a sudden you have the Bucks at 3 and whatever last place if they don't have a decent quarterback. So I'll say the Bucks really need a quarterback. But on the other side, though, I don't know if this is more or less your question. The team that needs a quarterback because they can actually do something this year, the Denver Broncos need a quarterback because they can be a Super Bowl contender. They're the only team out of all these teams here that I really think can be a Super Bowl contender next year if they get a quarterback. I mean, the Seahawks, I think they'll have Russell Wilson. I don't know if they'll be a Super Bowl contender, but they could be a playoff team, make a run. The Saints can, Saints and Colts could be a playoff team, make a run. The Packers maybe too, but the Broncos can be contenders. How you feeling?
Yeah, man. So you're right. The Broncos are so built to win a Super Bowl. I agree with that so much. And I'm glad you pointed that out because, you pointed out the two teams that need to get a QB right now to win because if they don't, they're going to lose their window. And in the NFL, winning in your window is so important. But look at the other teams that are up there. There's some that I think need to get a QB to get their fan base back, to get their tickets sold, to get asses in seats. And I love to say it like that, but think about it. You got the Panthers. Who really is going to a Panthers game? The Washington football team, the Texans with Deshaun Watson leaving. If Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers, that's going to be tough for their fan base. The Colts are saying already that they're going to get rid of Carson Wentz, and we'll get into that later. You got the Saints who are going to be desperate for a QB if they're keeping Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, which we'll see. The Browns, Baker Mayfield's on the hot seat. The Seattle Seahawks, if Russell Wilson leaves, they definitely might part ways because it might be beneficial for both sides. And we can talk about that later too. And then the Falcons too. I think with Matt Ryan, he's older. The Steelers with Big Ben retiring are definitely on here. I should have put them on. I apologize once again. And then the Dolphins even. You look at all these teams. That's got to be 15 to 16 teams that we have named tonight. And there are so many teams that I think, moreover, there's probably a less number that could go and win a Super Bowl. I think the only ones that I think could do it are if Devontae Adams stays with the Packers, maybe the Washington football team, but probably not. I'd say the Bucs, the Broncos. Believe it or not, if the Panthers draft a corner first round, I think that they're going to be pretty good with DJ Moore in that receiving core. And if CMC comes back healthy, maybe, but I still doubt it. So I'll say the Bucs, the Broncos, the Browns, and maybe the Steelers because they have a good defense. But I really think it's the Bucs and the Broncos.
Hey, Joe, I got a question for you. We actually on the same page because those are my two teams for those two different reasons. But I got a question. I'll give you my answer right after pretty quick. But what teams would you not want to be on? What teams would you absolutely not want to be a fan of or not be in GM? What teams do you have are the worst in the worst situations, in your opinion, in quarterbacks right now?
So I'm trusting my GM and everything, and I'm in the office. If I had to pick, that's a great question. I don't want to be a fan of the Colts right now. And I'll tell you why. I love the Colts, but they're realizing that they effed up, and they effed up bad. They took a risk last year giving up a second-round pick, and now it's biting them because they realize that Carson Wentz isn't a good QB. or maybe not what they wanted in a QB, we'll say that, or maybe not a good fit. And there's already a rumor that he may get traded or cut before March 15th to save $15 million in cap space.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be a Colts fan right now because imagine going and trading a second-round pick and thinking that you have a franchise guy, him not being the franchise guy, and having so many questions. Now there's rumors that Colts fans are like, could Matt Stafford now, after winning with the Rams, come to the Colts next season?
No.
Hell no. He's going to go for another ring. What? No.
Yeah,
but I don't want to be a Colts fan. What about you, though? Because that's an interesting question. What team do you not want to be a fan of?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead. It's up for debate. I like the Colts running game and defense. Throw anyone under center, and I think they might be okay. But yeah, that was a stupid move for Carson Wentz. I'm going to give you 2-for-1 right here because I think they're in the same situation. It's a team that, made it pretty, far in the playoffs. They had a great season. Could have been in the Super Bowl technically. It's going to be the Packers and the Niners because you just had a great season with two solid quarterbacks. I'm not going to call them great. They're in a great system. I know Jimmy G, the whole thing. That's not what I'm going to talk about. But now you're switching over to what, Jordan Love and Trey Lance, who are two guys who I don't think they look good. They haven't looked good when I've seen them on the field. I don't believe in them. You're going from a quarterback that just took you to the NFC Championship and the divisional round to these guys who are young, who haven't really played that much and aren't going to be very good, especially in their first few seasons, in my opinion. So I think they're in the most trouble because at least if you're Carolina, if you're Denver, if you're these other teams, you have a chance to pick up a great quarterback because you're still looking. The Seahawks have Russell Wilson, but the Saints, at least the Browns and the Falcons have somebody that they know can do a little something, even though Baker's probably worse than Love and Lance. But anyway, I just don't like that they're so confident that they have these young quarterbacks and they're going to start them next year, and I don't know if that's going to be good for them. So,
and like the Texans too, like imagine just that franchise, what your outlook is for the future. It's not bright, but it's just so interesting going into this offseason because there's so many question marks. There could be so many trades, and you brought up the Niners too. Like if one QB moves, it could be a real domino effect. If two QBs move, it could be a real domino effect. Like imagine all the different QBs in different places. You got Teddy Bridgewater, you got all these guys like Jimmy Garoppolo that maybe aren't high-level names too, but maybe are starters somewhere next year. You know what I mean? And now, moving on to the second part of the segment, we actually look at the QB market. We looked at the QB needs and wants for each team. Let's look at the market and let's talk about maybe a few of the teams. So, actually, real quick, I'll go back to that graphic, Jay. You and I can have a little draft here. I'll give you 3 picks. I'll take 2. You get to pick 3 teams to talk about, and I'll pick 2. And it could be even teams that aren't on this graphic. But give me your first pick.
All right, my first pick. I mean, I should just go with the obvious one, I think, and just go with the Broncos because it seems like that's the obvious big name team.
Yeah, so you got the Broncos. I'll take the Colts.
I'll go ahead. I'll take the Texans.
Perfect. I'll take the Browns. And then last but not least, who's our last team going to be?
You want to go with the Bucks or you want to go with the Packers? I'll leave it up to you.
I love the Bucks.
All right, let's get it.
Perfect. So we got our teams. Remember the 3 that you had, and then I'll remember I had the Browns and Colts.
All right.
All right. So our first team, you picked. Who was it first?
Broncos, Texans, and Bucks.
So here we go. We're in the market right now. You got some high value guys. You got some low value guys. You got some wild card guys. You're the Broncos. What are you doing right now? Who are you taking? I mean, you got a couple draft picks. You have some capital. Where are you going? I mean, you said right now they're a win-now team, so I think you're automatically looking at the high-level category, right?
Yes, sir. I can't go anywhere else. If I'm the Broncos, I love Jimmy G. I don't want to look at him. I like Jameis, kind of. I don't want to look at him. I don't like Baker Mayfield. I don't want to look at him. And everyone to the left or right of him, whatever that side is low value, please stay away from Denver if you're a Denver Broncos fan. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. 100%. I think there's a 99% chance Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, and he should go to Denver. Seems like a perfect fit for Aaron Rodgers if he finally wants to get over that hump and win in the conference championship game. He can't win the NFC for some reason, so maybe he goes to NFC and brings them some love in another Super Bowl like Peyton Manning did after he left the Colts. So, yeah, I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers, the only choice for the Broncos this year. They got to go all in for Aaron. I'm not even the biggest Aaron Rodgers guy. You know that, dog. But you got to go all in for Aaron Rodgers if you're the Broncos because he's a lot better than the guys on the other two columns of him. So.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I'll take the guy after Rodgers just to make it interesting. I think if you don't get Rodgers, I saw an article today that I thought was kind of interesting, and it said maybe Wentz. Like, maybe they take a gamble on Wentz, a guy that's, like, kind of broken. A team might look at him like the Colts maybe couldn't do anything with him. The Eagles maybe couldn't do anything with him. He's from North Dakota, so he's a country boy. Denver, Colorado, he could be out in, the country. He could move out a little bit. Maybe he feels a little bit more at home. I thought that would honestly be the case in Indy. But maybe Carson Wentz they get as a low value, but I think that's a backup plan. You're right. They're a win-now team. They need to put a blue-chip QB in the position right now to win. And I think that what more of a blue-chip, a premier quarterback than Aaron Rodgers? And he's disgruntled, and their defense is so good. I would love to see him there. Our next team, it was the Colts.
Colts.
Who do you got for the Colts to take?
Let's see. Last thing I'll say about the Broncos, I'll think about this pick.
For context, you can stick with the QB too if you want to argue that.
Okay. Okay. Well, I do want to say that Aaron Rodgers, the reason why I need to go to Broncos is because they got that AFC West has the two best quarterbacks, I think, in the AFC right now with Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. They're not gonna win a division anytime soon if they don't have a elite quarterback. But now going to the Colts, if I had to pick from here, like this list right now, I mean, I'm actually because Kyler is really attractive to go with. Obviously, Russell Wilson is really attractive. I'm gonna go with Marcus Mariota, who's over there hanging out in the background as a backup right now in Las Vegas. Because with the Colts, like I said, all you need is a guy behind center that's not gonna colossally mess up. You have Jonathan Taylor to run the ball. You have a great defense. You have a great O-line. And then Marcus Mariota is going to be able to run their RPO. Imagine an RPO and a read option with Marcus Mariota and Jonathan Taylor. I think that would be kind of nice. We got to see if Mariota still got it. But out of these quarterbacks, I'm taking Mariota actually in Indy. How about you, Doc?
I like the Mariota idea. I'm staying with Wentz, though. I know it sounds crazy, but I think just for what they invested, think about it. They might as well stay one more year with him and see what they got. They put so much into this guy. Keep him for another year. See what happens, then get rid of him. You gave a second-round pick for him. You already have to pay him next year. You might as well just see what you have because is there anybody really better that you're going to get? I think the only way that the Colts make a move is if they get somebody to the left. Maybe Jimmy G, but is Jimmy G better than Wentz? I guess kind of. Yeah, I would say so. But I think that they're kind of on the same ceiling floor level. I feel like you have the same. I feel like Jimmy G is better, but Wentz has more reward if you can get him. He has more long term because who's younger?
Yeah. Oh, and he has more upside for sure.
In your face. So I agree. I think Jimmy G's better than Wentz by a lot. But I think that teams look at Wentz and they see a younger guy that they're like, oh, if I fix him up, he could be this guy. You know what I mean? They see the next Brett Favre. Some teams do. Even though I think a lot of teams shouldn't, they do. So I'm saying for the Colts,
taking Wentz.
Winston if you can. Go get Jimmy G if you can. If you can't, maybe get Deshaun Watson. Maybe get Russ, but I don't think that he's going to go there. So I think that the only guys that they can really get is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. Stick with Wentz if you can. I like the idea of Mariota, and I like the idea of Winston too. But it's just going to be really, really interesting to see which way it goes either way for the Colts because they're a young team, and they have a lot to work on. Give me 1 second, guys. Jay Fly's just fixing his camera and his audio. But moving on to our next team, and that's actually going to be not the Broncos, not the Colts, but actually the Browns. And the Browns are kind of in a tough spot right now. And what do you think about the Browns, man? I mean, they got Baker Mayfield. They got options. They have a lot of first-round picks. Well, they did. And they go in on Baker Mayfield, and it's kind of an L. I mean, this guy's not it, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like Baker Mayfield. And my bad, I know I kind of left the show for a minute there. I did want to finish off and say with Carson Wentz, my bad. I know I'm backtracking now, but I did want to finish this off and let you know sometimes because it's Valentine's Day, dog. I'm only saying this because it's Valentine's Day, and I want to get a Valentine's Day little shout out in there. Sometimes you date a girl, dog. It's Valentine's Day. Luckily, dog, like I said, him and his girlfriend are rock solid, so no haters. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. But sometimes you date a girl and you're like, man, I invested so much time into this. I invested money. I invested so much into her. But you can't waste another year. You know what I'm saying? You got to move forward and you got to find someone better. So the Colts might need to find someone better because West might not be that guy. But
he good.
My bad. I will agree with this. And that is, I do agree that one specifically does have the potential, but hopefully it's not another wasted year for the Colts. But I will go now forward to your question with the Browns. My bad. I just had to get that out because it's Valentine's Day. I want to get a few little things in there. But anyway, the Browns, there's two ways to see this, dog. One, Baker Mayfield's not the guy. It don't matter what team he's on in the NFL. Baker Mayfield's not the guy. We just seen OBJ, what he did with Matt Stafford for half a year and went to the Super Bowl, won a championship. He had him and Jarvis. So I wouldn't want to keep Baker, but on the second hand, it's the Browns. Like, do they really expect anything better than a Baker Mayfield? Like, when's the last time Baker Mayfield legit might be the best quarterback the Browns have had in like over 20 years?
Is it more of a Browns problem versus a Baker Mayfield problem?
I just think that he fits right in. He's this is what it reminds me of. Russell Westbrook when he was on the Wizards last year. You know, and it's like people are like, oh, he should go to a team that could maybe make the playoffs and maybe win a championship. So he goes to the Lakers, and I'm like, no, because he's not a Lakers guy. He's not a championship guy. He's a guy who's not going to win, but he's going to be exciting to watch. Baker Mayfield's a guy, in my opinion, is not going to really ever win the league, but he's exciting to watch. People like him because he's funny and he has that personality or whatever. He goes crazy, talks trash. Keep him on the Browns. Let them lose for the next 12 years, and he put up good stats, and then they move on and find another garbage quarterback for the next 5 years on and off. So anyway, that's what I think. But yeah, because if you put him on the Rams or a team that wants to win and win big, he's just gonna frustrate their fan base. And he's not gonna do anything for a city and a market that wants to win. Leave him in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think so. It's gonna be interesting to see what Cleveland does because you're right. It's like a girlfriend for Cleveland, too, just like it is for the Colts. They have so much invested in Baker Mayfield. He was supposed to be the franchise guy for them, and now he's not, and they're sitting there with a real question mark. So that's one team that I think if I'm them, the only guy that I'm really getting over him is anybody on the high value section. That's why I have him at the top of the wild cards. I think he's the best value guy there, even though he sucks at times. People don't talk about Baker Mayfield when he has a good game because he's such a hateable person, and a lot of people I like him, but a lot of people hate him, I know. So whenever he has a good game, you don't hear about it. But when he has a bad game, oh yeah.
Yeah, they pile on those bad games. Yeah. No, yeah, I like Baker. I like his little like
you had too. You had two more teams.
Oh yeah, I had the Texans and the Bucks.
But what about the Texans? Let's get them out of the way. What should they do at QB? Because Watson's probably leaving, if not definitely leaving.
Well, you know how I feel. I don't want Watson if he wants to stay. I don't even care. H-Town, we got our guy Davis Mills in the building, who's who I want in Houston. Davis Mills had himself a decent season. Like I would say, Davis Mills had himself the same season Deshaun Watson would have had if he was in Houston. Won the same amount of games, did the same amount of things. The only difference between Davis Mills and Deshaun Watson is that Davis Mills is a rookie and he has a lot of room to grow and he has a lot of things to do and he has no off-the-field issues. Because people like to kind of sleep on the off-the-field issues, which I get it. Like, these are humans. And as people, I forgive them and I love them and I wish them the best. I don't want them to be obviously doing these things that they're doing. But you've seen the Raiders this year. The Raiders could have been in the Super Bowl this year. But the thing is, their best wide receiver, literally like manslaughter somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, those things are important because like he's not there. He wasn't there in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They probably beat the Bengals if they have Henry Ruggs and their head coach, who was, all-time great head coach. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't there in the playoffs. So that's important. I personally would not, if I was a fan of a team, I would not want Deshaun Watson on my team. I'd rather have Davis Mills. And everyone else here, obviously, yes, I would take Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray.
In the rough with Mills, so they should really stick it out. You like him?
I think Davis Mills, he's like some of the rookies that we've talked about, Justin Fields, where, they're not for sure the guy or anything, but give them a few years because they've shown promise, in my opinion. Like, unlike Trey Lance and Jordan Love or whatever, who I give a hard time because they haven't shown nothing when they have been on the field, in my opinion. The other guys have showed a little something, so give them a chance.
Yeah, I like that. I think I agree with what you said. I like Mills. I really have nothing else to say about the Texans. I mean, Watson's gone, and who really wants to go there?
Yeah, Kyler's not going there.
Yeah, I don't think Kyler's going to move. I thought it would be fun to put him up there, though, because he's been crying a little bit. But the last team that you talked about was really, really interesting. Why don't you talk about that for a second?
The Bucs. Well, you know who I'm going to say at this point, looking at these quarterbacks, who's going to the Bucs. There's only one quarterback that really makes any sense, even though it's still not going to do anything. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they make the playoffs. That'd be insane. But your boy, the dead man, the Undertaker, Jimmy Garoppolo. That's who I think should go to Tampa. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs because they're not that good, and Jimmy's not Tom Brady by any means. But if they make the playoffs, man, Jimmy G will solidify himself as like just a winning quarterback, which I like. Like I said, I like winners, even though they lost to the Rams. But the Rams are nasty. But anyway, I like Jimmy G. I do like Jimmy G. I think he's going to Tampa. He should go to Tampa. How you feeling?
I think it's a good fit for him. You're right. Like, he likes that warm weather. He likes taking Tom Brady's shoes.
Yeah.
He's good at it, too. He's good at it. Like, look at what happened when he went in for New England in that little bit. So, I think if I'm the Bucs, I'm going for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Those are my two top-tier guys because we need to win now. If not, Deshaun Watson. If I can't get him, I'm going for Jimmy G. And maybe this might sound crazy, but I'm bringing Jameis Winston back.
Ooh.
And look at all these guys. Look at the QBs in the draft. Look at where the Bucs are at. I just think bringing Winston back might make sense. He knows Bruce Arians. He's played with him for a year. They had time to separate, time for Winston to grow. I think Winston could just kind of walk in and kind of take, and that division is so bad that it might work too, to where they get hot in the playoffs and they end up back in the Super Bowl. But I think Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G, if not. So I think it goes number 1 for me, Rodgers. Number 2, go get Wilson. If you can't get them, get Garoppolo. And if you can't get him, why not Wilson?
Yeah. I think honestly, the Bucs are a team that and same thing with the Browns. I think they're going to be irrelevant for the next, however many years, 3, 4, 5 years now at this point. So for me, it probably doesn't matter. I think Winston, I'm going to agree with you with Winston. I think that might be who they end up getting, and it might be like kind of the best thing for them. Again, like Baker, like he's going to throw for a lot of yards. He's going to go crazy for some games, but they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to just lose out the division to a team like the Saints or the Panthers or even the Falcons or something crazy. And it's going to be bad for them for the next few years because that's the same team that they had before Tom Brady, and it wasn't good.
Yeah. Glad we could spend some time on that topic, but we'll try to speed it up with these topics because I just looked at the clock. I know that you and I love the QB situation. I'm like, damn. But I want to talk about this. Your boy Wentz, or as I like to call him, Carson Wentz. And he's going to leave another team, bro. It is likely, I saw in an article, that the Colts will try to trade him or release him by March 15th. What are your thoughts on this? And, I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit there, but a little bit more in depth. I mean, what's the outlook for Carson Wentz? What's after this? Does he go to another team? Is he a backup now? I mean, what do you think?
I think we just talked about it with the quarterback situations. There's going to be a market for Carson Wentz in 2022. That's the thing. If it was a different year in the past, he might have been like, with the Colin Kaepernick situation. I hate to bring it up because Cap's my guy. Shout out to Cap.
Back up at the Jaguars.
You said what?
Back up at the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, it could, like, if this was 2000 and whatever, 16 or 15 back in those days, yeah, he would have had to take a backup job or just not been in the NFL anymore. And that's like Colin Kaepernick found himself in that situation. 2022, Colin Kaepernick maybe even now could get a starting job in the NFL, even like today maybe, for sure back then. So Carson Wentz today, because the quarterback, everyone's retiring, everyone's getting old, everyone's kind of done. Carson Wentz can find himself a starting job on one of these teams. The Washington football team, any of these, because they're better than Tyler Heineke. I'll tell you that.
Even the Lions. I think Carson Wentz is better than Jared Goff, in my opinion. I agree. I think Carson Wentz has more potential, is what I'll say. I think Jared Goff, like, what is he? He went to the Super Bowl and he lost, but like, what has he really done? Like, he doesn't do anything that makes me think like, okay, this guy's like, he's good, but I don't see, I should say, in Jared Goff what you see in Jimmy G. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't see that in Goff. I don't think that he has that. There are certain guys that I see that I'm like, oh, this guy kind of sucks, but maybe he'll get it back together. I can't say that I see it in Goff. I just don't like him. But like, what about what if Wentz went to a team like the Lions, or any team could really take, like, you're right, that has a QB question mark. The Bucks. Imagine that.
Yeah, he could go to the Bucks. That would actually probably be a really good fit. I mean, literally all those teams that we've seen, the Texans, the Browns, the Saints, I think would be a good fit even. There's so many teams that he would actually be an upgrade at a quarterback. And Jared Goff, it's so crazy because Jared Goff, I feel like, is a quarterback with the best job security I've seen in my life, because the man just, like, always, no one ever talks about this man, like, getting cut, getting traded, and he never really had that great of a year. Although, numbers-wise, his 2000, I think it was 18 season and prior, he had the same season as Matt Stafford had this year, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because I don't know if I showed you that chart, but I've seen a chart that, like, showed their seasons, and Goff, besides his terrible season he had that got him traded, had a similar season to Matt Stafford this year. So interesting. But yeah, I agree with you. Wentz is an upgrade over Goff, though, for sure. He's Goffable.
Who won the 76ers trade, Jay? I mean, 76ers, Nets obviously make a huge trade. There's more players involved, but the main gist of it is James Harden for Ben Simmons. Philadelphia 76ers give up 2 first-round picks, Seth Curry, Drummond. But the Nets also gave up, what's the name of the other player? I didn't freaking know him.
They gave up James Harden, and you know what? The other guy's probably relevant because he's just slipping my mind too. Sorry, guy, whoever you are.
I'm not sorry. He's old as shit, and I saw that he's still playing, so that gives him credit. But I don't even know who he is. So
yeah, I don't even know who it is either. I think I did see it, but I don't know who it is. But
who won?
Yeah. Well, side note, this is the funniest thing from this whole trade is they asked Joel Embiid how he felt about the trade in an interview. His answer was, "Man, it's gonna suck to not have Curry, to lose Curry and Andre Drummond." And he said that was it. He said, "I'm gonna miss those guys." He didn't say nothing about Ben Simmons. He said, "I don't give a damn about Ben Simmons being on my team." So I mean, that says it all right there. I think in my opinion, who got the better of the trade? The Nets, I think, got the better of the trade. But when you're talking about who won the trade, I'm going to go with the 76ers because they don't even like Ben Simmons. So their biggest asset they gave up is a guy they don't even like. That's like, again, it's Valentine's Day. So let's go with Valentine's Day, the girlfriend stuff again, dog. If you're dating a girl and she's the finest girl in the city, everyone thinks she's the finest. She got all the Instagram likes, all that. She got all the clout. And she's your girlfriend. And you break up with her for a girl who people don't think is all that fine. But you didn't like that girl to begin with. You still won the trade, although you lost technically the greater asset. You still won the trade because the greatest asset in this trade was Ben Simmons, and AD was a close third because they needed a big. They didn't want him. So the Sixers, you guys won the trade for sure. And if Ben Simmons is as bad as he was in Philly with all his off-the-court issues and the coach not liking him, big man not liking him, the Nets might be done. So the Sixers for sure won the trade, in my opinion, in every way, really. Although I really like this Nets team, and I think if Ben Simmons plays good, they're the number 1 team in the league. So
I'll say this. The 76ers won, and you're right. They got a package for a guy that wasn't even playing on the team. So when you look at it for the 76ers value, they're instantly winning because they're getting value for something that wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think for the Nets, they're getting value, but they're getting more of a question mark. And this is going to sound crazy at first, but there were rumors that, and we'll get into the Brooklyn drama later, but rumors that Kyrie, KD, and Harden all didn't get along, too much alpha personality, could totally see that. And I think Ben Simmons is a little bit of a drama queen. How's that going to go there? They already had drama with James Harden, who I think, I'm not saying James Harden is an easy player to play with, but I think that it's fair to say that he's probably easier to play with than Ben Simmons. So how do you think it's going to go with Ben Simmons, somebody who has a reputation for drama and is going there, doesn't shoot, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on KD because KD is going to need to shoot because Kyrie and Ben both don't want to shoot when it's time. They want to pass it. So, okay, whatever. I think long term, the Nets get a lot of value with the 2 first-round picks and the players that they got. I don't foresee the Nets winning right now. I just don't see Kyrie and Ben being those guys. So for the 76ers, they need to win now. They're in their window right now to win a championship. Embiid's getting old. We've been talking about the process for almost a decade now. It's been 8 years. It's time for the process to be trusted and win right now. Philadelphia 76ers, make it happen right now. Harden, please, please, please win us a championship. It's been so long. You work so well with big men. They have the pieces there right now. Maybe you go out and get somebody in the free agency this year if it doesn't work. Like, imagine Jimmy Buckets coming back or something. How crazy that would be next season. I'm not saying that would happen, but, like, the 76ers, I think, could win the East.
Actually, I have the Sixers win the East now with this trade, and I'm going to tell you why. This is the main reason why the Sixers won this trade. I'm going to give it to you right now, and we can move on if you want. This is the main reason. I was saying the Sixers should trade Ben Simmons. They should get rid of, like, 3 first-round picks. You know what I'm saying? And Ben Simmons. No, my fault. Let me rewind that. I don't know if you remember, like 3 weeks ago, I said they should give up Ben Simmons for 3 first-round draft picks and Jamal Murray. Remember, I've been saying that Ben Simmons to the Nuggets. I've been saying that for a while because then you have a point guard and a bunch of great players around a point guard. The Nets already have a good point guard in Kyrie Irving. They're probably the best point guard in the NBA, if not Steph Curry. They already have a ball-dominant player in KD. Now you're bringing another guy that can't play off the ball, that can't shoot really. Now he's dominating the ball. Doesn't fit with the Nets. And you get back James Harden. I was like, you get a backup point guard in Jamal Murray and let Tyrese Maxey start and you get some draft picks and you're happy. You just got one of the greatest shooting guards in the league right now for a guy who doesn't play.
In my opinion, I love Harden.
That's the best case situation. Yeah, I think he's for sure the greatest right now, and he's up there at all-time shooting guard of all time, one of the all-time greats. And you got him instead of a backup point guard, like all these other scenarios that you were never going to get a guy like him, and you just landed James Harden. It's a big win for the Sixers. Yeah, it's 100%.
Playing with the best center in the league too, who loves big men. That's the real thing that I think that the Sixers get.
Oops all day.
I know, that's what I'm excited to see, and it just didn't work out in Brooklyn. And moving on to our next topic, so I heard this drama. Well, apparently when they were practicing, something happened. Well, this is where it all started. Apparently, KD and Harden got into it because in the All-Star game, Harden basically was the last one picked. Like, KD didn't pick his own teammate, and Harden took that personally. Okay, whatever. You guys are grown-ass men playing basketball. Get over yourselves. Getting paid millions of dollars. But anyway, sorry. Anyway, then I heard another rumor that Kyrie Irving was just dominating Harden when they first got to Brooklyn in practice, like just crushing it. And he said something like, "You're washed, old man," or something like that to Harden. And apparently players had to pull them off each other. So I just think like maybe there was too much alpha energy there. And I think that might happen again with Simmons. That's why I think that the Brooklyn Nets look so good on paper, but they got 99 problems, and getting along is definitely one.
Well, I'll say this. I do agree with everything you said, by the way. That was all facts. The one thing that I will say, though, is that it's going to be interesting because when you play basketball, you're naturally going to talk trash. And like, I tell my friends when I play now, because I don't play for, like, any championships. I just play for fun. I tell them that, all right, I try my best not to care because I don't want to talk trash when I score on people. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do this stuff because my friends sometimes, no, do it, man. I want to win. I want to get hyped up, and I always want to win no matter what. So I get hyped up sometimes, and people want to fight, and I think that's weak because if someone scores on me doing something and they're talking trash, I like that. That brings the competitor out of me even more and makes me want to go harder instead of playing like this safe, soft basketball and not hurt nobody, and not embarrass nobody. James Harden is getting upset over that. Like, you're a basketball. This is what you're supposed to do. Like, have you forgotten what basketball was like before the league? And then you got Ben Simmons. Like, to your point, Ben Simmons is not a guy who's going to talk trash to anybody. But the flip side of that, like you were saying, he might cry or something if Kyrie goes and like says something because he's so sensitive, man. So like Yeah, he's soft. I hate to say it. Shout out to Tinashe. I know you guys did. Shout out you, girl. You dope. Happy Valentine's Day. But let me tell you this. There should be no problem because Ben Simmons should be to himself and it should be fine. But if something happens like this, he might cry and it might be an issue and they might just think he's extra soft and he might not fit into this with the culture of a guy like KD who's one of the toughest players. Like we call LeBron James soft, and LeBron James, he makes Ben Simmons look like Charmin soft. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
KD is that guy. Kyrie is that. Like in my opinion, I love Steph Curry. I love the Warriors, California shout out. But Kyrie, I think, is the greatest point guard in the NBA. In the NBA, it has been for quite a while, in my opinion. And he's gonna toast Ben. He's gonna cook Ben Simmons in practice because he's that guy. Ben Simmons is a great defender, but he's not that great. So. Yeah, I agree. I got so much to say about the Brooklyn Nets, but I'm excited to see what happens. I just don't think it's going to be the best when you have 3 ball-dominant guys, 2 of them being point guards, and 1 of them can't shoot. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Go Philly, though. Sixers are going to win the East.
That's what I think the Sixers are benefiting off of is they need to win this year because the Nets are going to be good next year. But back to the Nets to keep it on topic. It just sucks because KD is one of those players too. He's in his window right now. So they need to put it together. And I don't know. I think bringing a player like Ben Simmons in just does not help the chemistry. But anyways, moving on to one of our next topics. And this is something that we can just talk about real quick because I have one final topic I want to wrap up with. But what team, and just give me one team and a reason why real quick, but is your beast in the East? You already said the Sixers, but tell me a little bit why. I mean, I guess, are you going to stick with the Sixers? Who you got as your best team in the East?
I want to stick with the Sixers, but if you want to go with the Sixers, I can switch my pick if so we don't have the same team. But I actually do think it's the Sixers.
Who's your second team then? I'll go for the Sixers, but who's your backup?
My backup is really close between the Bulls and the Heat. I think the Bulls and the Heat are both really good this year, but I'm gonna just go with the Heat because they were just in the finals 2 years ago and they had all those injuries and they barely lost to the Lakers with like 3 of their best guys injured. They have a really great young core, like you said, Jimmy Buckets. I know you're big on Jimmy Buckets. I think the Heat, if the Sixers don't win it, I'm going to actually, well, here we go back with the Nets. I'd have to go with the Nets because you have KD, and KD is unguardable. But if not the Sixers, if not the Nets, I'm going with the Heat, then the Bulls, and then the Bucks would be my 5th team. Those are my 5 teams. I know I just basically said everything but the Cavs. But, yeah, so I'll go with the Heat, though. The Heat will be my final answer, and they got a squad out there, and they've been balling with Tyler Hero and those other guys, Bam Adebayo and all those guys.
Yeah. I'll go with the Sixers. I think that the Sixers are the best shape now with Harden going there.
Oh, for sure.
Embiid's playing at an MVP level. So it's time for the Sixers to win now, and they need to put it all together. Players, I was saying to my dad, players like Tobias Harris, Danny Green, Tyrese Maxey even, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz. You guys need to step up right now because you lose Seth Curry in the trade. You lose AD in the trade. You need players that are younger, that have been here for a while, to step up and do what they need to do because there's going to be more pressure on Embiid and on Harden because you're being a better team. You're elevating yourself to a higher level. That's pressure on Doc Rivers. That's pressure on Embiid. But do I think that they can handle that pressure? Yes. It's time to trust the process. We've been saying it for years. Let's go Sixers.
Bill, side note for you. I watched the Sixers game against the Cavs a few days ago. 2 things. Joel Embiid had the nastiest dunk we've seen all year over Jared Allen. And number 2, Korkin Furmaz, whatever that, the Turkish dude with the beard.
Yes.
Korkmaz. That guy was killing. He was just shooting the lights out.
He was hot.
That guy was just flicking his wrist like, look at the wrist. And he was just hitting it like all day. That guy is nasty. That guy's going to really be like an X factor for the Sixers this year. It sounds crazy, but he is.
I agree. I think, like I said, players like that, they got to step up.
Interview my choke, though. But
somebody could be stepping up to buy the Broncos. I made a TikTok about this, and it did pretty well, so I want to talk about it on the podcast. But are Antonio Brown and Kanye West trying to buy the Broncos? I'll tell you what. Broncos are worth $3.27-ish billion off the top of my head. Kanye West, self-proclaimed, is worth $6.6 billion. Actually, according to like Forbes, I think it's like 1.2, 1.4. And AB is only worth like $20 million. So AB is not even close. AB is apparently trying to talk, though, Kanye into buying the Broncos. What are your thoughts on that, Jay? You think it could happen?
I think, AB, business is booming. I don't know what's going to happen because he don't got the capital. He don't got the weight behind him to do anything like this. Kanye can just team up with Dre or with even like his boy Jay, and they probably could get it done with Beyonce or something. But I think that this would be a very smart move for Kanye to do for two reasons. The Broncos, they're one of those teams that the franchise, if they want to win, they expect to win. They're a championship Super Bowl franchise. They just won one not too long ago, and they won one before that. So I think they're a team to buy. But the reason why you want to buy them now is because if you can buy it for 3 point whatever billion, Aaron Rodgers and Vontae Adams roll into town and they make a Super Bowl run, you just made some money. He might sell them in a year or 2 or 3 when Aaron, right before Aaron Rodgers retired, he talked to Aaron and Devontae. Hey, Tay, what's up, man? Oh, y'all about to leave next year? You guys leaving the offseason? All right. Sells the team for $5 billion. He just made himself a little over $1 billion. Boom, that's business right there. So it's smart. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, they get a ring too. I think it would be fun to see, and I think it would be cool to see AB go in and be like GM or do something else. Not head coach, that would be absurd. But maybe he comes out when he plays again. Maybe he's the first ever coach player in the NFL.
Like Jackie Moon.
Yeah, exactly. Like some what's it called?
Tropic Thunder.
Longest yard shit, where he plays QB, the coach, and he comes in for the last play. But
you do owner, coach, GM, player.
Oh my God, you're right.
And they can do the halftime show together. AB and Kanye and bring Drake out there for the halftime show.
A lot of money, got a whole lot of money. He's just a Renaissance man. Is there anything that he can't do?
Bring him out.
I mean, that's all we got for tonight for you guys. Don't want to take it up too much longer here because I know Warzone has another show after this. But as always, I want to thank Mr. J5 for coming on the show. It's always a good time with you, brother. We'll post this on Spotify tomorrow, guys. Be sure to give us a listen. We're trying to grow on there. And hope everybody has a good week. And we'll be back next week, Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Take care, everybody.
Go Rams.